everyone, this is Litika M. Starting in IAC department, first semester, who's going to narrate you a story of Varaha Roopam. In 1847, there lived a king that has great kingdom as well as lovely wife and child, but could not find peace. He sets out on a journey to discover true happiness and comes upon a stone in a forest occupied by Panjuli Daiva, a deity that protects the villager that resides in the forest. He donates a vast amount of his lands to the villagers in exchange for taking the stone with him. Panjurli warns the king that his family and the successors should keep their word and not to reclaim the land. In 1970, the king's successor asks a Bhutakola performer who is possessed by Panjurli to make the locals hand over the land to him, which the performer refuses and states he will die vomiting blood if he tries to. The successor raises doubt on the performer's position by Panjuli, to which the performer replies he would vanish if he is possessed, after which he runs into the forest and indeed never seen again. As warned, the king's successor dies mysteriously vomiting blood a few months later on the steps of the court where he was going to argue the land case. In 1990, Murali, a forest officer, is tasked with converting the village's land into the forest reserve. However, he is challenged by Shiva, a Kambala athlete from the Kadubetta village, and the missing performer's son. Shiva is backed by the patron and the village's landlord, Devendra Sutur, who is the king's successor in the present. Although Shiva is continuously asked to perform the Bhutakola, he refuses due to the trauma of his father's disappearance. Instead, his cousin Gurva takes his place. Murali and his staff starts erecting the fence along the unmarked forest reserve. Shiva falls in love with his friend Leela and uses his connection with Devendra to appoint her as a forest guard. The villagers try to stop fencing, but the police and the forest guard, including Leela, brutally suppresses them, which creates a rift between Leela and Shiva. Even though she was following the orders but could do nothing about the situation. As the fight between Murli and Shiva intensifies, Murli decides to arrest Shiva and his friends and heads to their hideout along with Devendra's henchman Sudhakar. However, Shiva and his friends, who are cutting down the trees, accidentally destroys Murli's jeep in the process, and thinking that they killed everyone inside, go into hiding. A few days later, they return to the village to meet their families. Shiva makes up with Leela and tells her that he will surrender. However, they are caught by the police and the forest guard. Gurva asks Devendra to bail Shiva, but Devendra tries to bribe him to act as if Panjali orders the villagers to give him their land in the next Bhutakola. Gurva refuses and Devendra kills him. Learning that Murli has figured out his ulterior motive, Devendra decides to set Shiva against him. Having learnt about Gurva's death, Shiva meets Devendra and meet the villagers. When Murli has told about Devendra's land squeak. After Shiva reveals that Devendra killed Gurva, he and Murli set aside their grudges. Devendra and his henchmen attack, leading to an intensive battle where several of the villagers are killed. After nearly dying in the fight, Shiva hits his head against the Panjoli stone, gets possessed by Guliga Daiva and kills Devendra and his henchmen. A few months after the battle, Shiva performs the Bhutakola and is possessed by the Panjurli, where he, Murli and the villagers join hands in a symbolic gesture and blesses the villager.